What's going on, everyone? Yes, today is another retro tour review. And yes, the monster that stands in front of you is Devilman. Also go by the name of Amon, which also go by the name as Akira Fudo. Now, if you've never heard of this character, it comes from an epic manga that's very old school / anime. And even came out with a live movie, which looked pretty awful. But beyond all that, let me go ahead and give you a quick backstory. Akira Fudo is a young man that actually teams up with a childhood friend from school that kind of knows a little bit more that's going on in the world, which actually has demons in it. If you've never seen this anime or read the mangas, you should definitely give it a chance. It's actually really, really good. Or at least to me, really good. It's probably one of my all-time favorites growing up. Now, Akira actually learns about these demons, and his friend tells him in order to kill these demons, you have to become a demon. So, that being the case, they go on a little hunt. Things get pretty terrible, and pretty much Akira gets possessed by a demon. But because his soul is so pure, he was able to take the demon's powers and actually use it for good. So that's why you get the name Devilman, because it's merging a demon with a human, which comes to Devilman. Now Amon, which is the other name you heard me say, is actually, this toy is listed under Amon and Devilman, but it's definitely an Amon figure. Now Amon is actually the demon of war, and when he entered Fudo's body, he actually was put on the back burner, where he didn't have no more control over his body and he just sits in the subconscious. Well, when some events happened to Fudo, which kind of lowered his mentality and lowered his faith and everything else, it actually gave the ability for Amon to re-emerge and take over his body, which took on a different form, which looks a lot more devilish, which is what you see in front of you right now. Now, this particular version of Devilman is kind of a mixture of old school and new school. So Devilman came from looking, I think he had red and blue, which he looked at kind of like a Power Ranger. He looked really funky looking. He was really old school, and they gave him a vamp over the years, and he wore red and black, which more looked like a demon or the devil himself. Or imagery of what we think the devil would look like, whatever. And then you got this new version where he looks like a dragon, and he kind of takes on like these blue color schemes. So to kind of give you an idea, I actually have a poster that I got out of a manga book not that long ago. And I'm gonna go ahead and zoom back so y'all can actually see this. So this is the old school Devilman look. Hence, if you look at the toy, red body, black areas as well. Kind of same thing goes on with this character. You can kind of see his leg down here in the far bottom right corner where my finger is at. That's like the furry legs, which in this toy you get a scale look, but it's still black. And then if you look at the new version, which is where this poster came from, or mini poster, came from this version. So if you look at this particular Devilman, definitely resembles that one a lot. I mean, granted, the horns is different, but this is kind of a collaboration between two companies. It's Sentinel and Max Factory came together and made this character, so they took their spin on it as well. But for the most part, the key factors is there. You can definitely see a resemblance. So beyond all that, let's jump into this figure and let's show what this figure has to offer, or maybe not so much. So I'm going to go ahead and do height comparison first, because I already have a character next to him that I can display. That is Solid Snake, which is a Figma, and that is your height comparison. So Devilman is pretty tall, and he's actually taller than that. I have his neck kind of going forward, so his head is a little bit lowered, but he can actually go a little bit higher than that. His feet is flat on the ground. He does have like some type of demon or the shape of a dog in the fashion feet. So he kind of sits on the ball part of his foot, like the front part versus the heel. So he kind of stands kind of funky, but that's how he stands. Now moving to a 360 view of the detail of Devilman, I must say off the back, this company did an amazing job on detail and the look of this character. He actually looks amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the full 360 as usual. And let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Bring him up some so y'all can see. So there you go. The details in the face are so good. Even the body itself. I'm gonna go down and start focusing for y'all. And they do such a great job. I mean, it's so much sculpting, so much high details. Like, it's really, really well done. Every point of this character looks great. Slide over to the arm so you can actually see that. Alright. So that's the front. Here's the side. And see what I mean by the head? It definitely resembles that drawing. The real dragon skelly look. And when I first seen this toy, I kind of was bummed out that he didn't look like the old school, or at least the second generation design, because that's what I grew up off of. So I was actually more stoked to see that version. But I'm gonna be honest with you, because they never really released the actual great Devilman toy. They made like these statue slash toys, which there were more statues than toys. And they looked great because I actually had a few of them, but they couldn't move. So that was the bummer, where I just kind of like, I didn't really like them due to the fact that I couldn't do nothing with them. And then when I found out about this toy that came out, this toy is pretty old because it came out a few years back. When I found out it was coming out, I just was like, I had to grab them. Want to make sure that I got my hands on him because I thought he was going to fly like off the shelves due to the fact that like he's a kind of old school character. And I'll tell you what them holes are for. Them holes on his back is for his wings, which is really nice. If you notice, they actually have two sculpting holes that's completely different to kind of make sure you don't mess up the wings and put them in the wrong way, or you shouldn't, but just in case if you're that type of special person that does wrong shit, then this helps you not to do that. So they got that going on. And like I said before, the detail, even if you look at the back, got the wrinkles in the skin, looks really good. These parts right here is like scars where his wings emerge. They actually open up his back and you kind of see like flesh torn just for him to bring his wings out. And Devilman is a really neat character. I mean, a really, really nice character in general. If you ever get a chance to see the anime, you'll see what I mean. I don't necessarily want to spoil it, but he does have some pretty cool powers. I mean, granted, he is the demon of war, so he shouldn't be cheesy, but he actually is pretty nice. So that is a full 360 of him. So you actually got to see how he look. Now, what's going to make this review a little bit different? I have two Devilman toys due to the fact that my very first one bit the bullet over time of doing toy photography, kind of bummed me out. A good friend of mine, actually I met him through Instagram, and he was actually a person that subbed to my toy review page a long time ago, and I didn't even know it. But he been with me probably from day one. He actually found this toy for dirt cheap and let me know, like, hey man, they got them for this much. Go check them out. So I was able to get a toy that I originally paid, I think 100 and something for. Got this figure for actually like 40 bucks. I paid roughly around 50 or so for shipping, but that was a hell of a deal compared to what I paid first. So what I'm going to do, I won't be moving this toy around. I'll be moving the one that actually bit the bullet on me. But I can do nice close-ups and show you articulation without damaging the one I just got. So let's go ahead and jump into accessories first. Devilman is going to get an alternate head, which also is very, very nicely sculpted. And this one has the mouth open instead of the mouth closed. Still keeps the same amount of quality all the way around. Looks really good. Okay. Now, his mouth is open because, actually, what the hell am I doing? Well, that's cool. Never mind. I'm tripping. But his mouth is open because this little green fire stuff that's going on, you can actually put it in the mouth like so. And it is molded for his mouth, so you don't got to worry about putting it in the wrong way. And it's like that. So like he's blowing green flames out of his mouth. You're going to get that head, which that was the head I technically just showed you without realizing it. But the other alternate head, I'm sorry, is this right here. You get the grin face. And this one I really like. It's really sinister. Both faces are amazing, but I like this one a whole lot. So that's the other face that you get. Like I said, it's nicely sculpted. So you're going to get two heads, one grin, one yelling face. You're going to receive the base that you see him on. Go ahead and focus again. That's the base you see him on right here, which I'm going to turn to the side one hot second. It is articulated from here, here, and here. And you also have it mounted really nicely. And you have a long arm for grabbing the waist, and you even have little short ones. Let me go ahead and show you that real quick. They're easy to change out, nothing hard. But these are short ones for them, so you can use that as well. Don't know why they gave the short version. Maybe just to kind of prevent you from seeing it around his waist. I don't know. As for the strength of the stand, it's pretty strong. It actually can hold him in the air if need be. So you get that. You're going to get two set of wings. You're going to receive some short wings that just kind of sits out of his back like resting in a fashion. And I'll show you how that works. Like I said before, they're shaped for the occasion. So clearly this one goes here. And you literally just push it in. Now, as for these wings staying in place, they have the tendency to come out pretty easy. Like I can actually just, let me hold this body and I'll show you. I can just do that and they'll drop out. So over time, I noticed when I was changing the wings out, they kind of grew weak, which is kind of a bummer, but it happens. The ones that really grown weak over time, he get the other set, which is a full flap. And the detail on these are amazing as well. Looks really nice. Really nice paint job. You can even see different flesh tones right here. And this is the outer part of the wing. If you look at the inner part of the wing, it looks just amazing. Really good job. And it's articulated right here. So when you put it in the back, like so, you can flap them if need be. And I'll show you how that works. Let's go ahead and zoom out a bit, or at least focus. And that's the actual extension of the wing, how far it stands away from the body. There's the other wing. It kind of sits above the head. Okay. There they go. And they sit flush into the body, so you don't have to worry about like weird gaps when you push it in there. It's nicely done. All right. You're also going to get another set of hands. You did see ball fist hands on that figure. This is the open palm hands. Let me go ahead and focus up close. There we go. And they're nicely sculpted. Palms look really good. Very nice hand expression. Like that a lot. Okay. Then you're going to get this huge accessory. It's actually a base for his base. Now, this monster here is called Jinman. He showed up in the second OVA movie. He also in the real life film, I believe, as well. And you pretty much get his demise. It's nicely sculpted. It kind of sits on the base and his hand cups over the edge of the base. But this is really nicely done. And what Jinman has a tendency to do, he eats people and they emerge on his back. Well, at least their faces does. What their face do. And sadly enough, they're dead, but they are still alive and they can also feel pain. This big old gap hole that you see is where good old Akira, or Devilman, punched a hole clean through him and killed him. In the original manga, he punches a hole, but this person that you see right here is actually right there, and it goes through her face, pretty much through her whole eye, and he kills the monster. I won't say exactly the point of this, because you might want to watch the movie and I don't want to ruin it. But that is what you see going on here, and they're so nicely done. Let me see if I can actually look at the details. Oh, they really look good. Everything about this figure, or this base rather, is really well done. Figure as well. Looks really good. Paint job is really nice. Alright. So that is all the accessories. Now as for articulation. So this is where the information comes into play, where I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, along with what's the perk and what is the huge downside of this figure. But out of everything, even though this figure bummed me out by breaking over the time, you see I bought a second one, so clearly I like this figure a lot, so I was willing to purchase it twice. And the way I am, if I don't care for a figure, I'm not going to get it a second time regardless. But this was a must-have. So articulation wise, his head is on double ball joint. Ball joint goes in the head, ball joint goes in the neck. The range you get is crazy. I'm talking about really nice. You can make him sit directly straight up with his head. You can make him come forward. You can actually make him go a little bit to the side. I mean, you can do everything. Neck joint. Ball joint goes into the neck. Ball joint goes into the body itself. You get about that much range looking down. Like I said, he get the whole chicken neck. He can even do that. Come about that far going back. And then as for going to the side, got a little bit of tilt going on. You can also rotate it a little bit. You can make it look flush if you just put his collarbone into his chest. So that works. As for the arm, he's on a double ball joint. Once again, really nicely made. You go about that far up, going out to the side. Full 360, of course. And once again, this company definitely wanted you to know that they want you not to screw your toy up, or if something happened where you actually had to take this toy apart. I took this toy completely apart. So as for all the joints, it's even so detailed further as quality wise. So you can actually see where his right arm, left arm, right? Where was actually pretty dope. Both of these biceps are identical. The left and the right is exactly the same. What separates them is that when you remove this off, or if you had to remove it because it was damaged, in my case I had to change out an arm, it's actually a smaller hole over here and a larger hole over here. So you can't even mix up the biceps if worst scenario actually occurs. So this is really cool. He does have a swivel right below the shoulder. And he has a single hinge elbow, but he gets a nice range. And this is also connected like through a peg system, going into the bicep. Going into the forearm is actually on a ball joint. So you can actually turn this due to the peg, and then you can actually tilt this around a bit. Can't do it too much because it's kind of snug on this, but you see me moving it. That's the ball joint connection. Okay, now going down to the wrist, this is on a ball joint going into both ends, so you get a nice amount of range. Not too much, but a little bit. There you go. You can kind of maneuver it around. You kind of got to mess with it a bit to kind of get what you want, because of the frame of the forearm kind of blocks a lot of the movement. So you got that going on. So that is all of the articulation dealing with the arm. Going into his he has 3 sections into the body, which is really nice. The upper part goes about that far forward, that far back. Nice little tilt to the side. Then you go to the lower half. You go about that far back, this far forward. Really nice. And then you have a little bit of tilt to the side. Using both parts, you actually get a lot more. Okay. And then into the body itself is a ball joint. And that ball joint goes into this weird contraption here, which is normally glued. So I'm actually probably going to try to create another Y ball joint system, and I'll probably treat it like a Play Arts Kai, have a hovering crotch, but I'll be able to fix it. So that's why I kept all the pieces, because I can definitely fix it. Looking at this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and zoom up on him first, and this is where kind of the bad happened. Go ahead and bring this in. So on Devilman, which I'm going to be extremely careful with because I don't need nothing bad to happen, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So y'all gonna see his man parts, or monster parts. But this figure actually is designed like a Dragon Ball Z toy. So the way it works is that he's on a ball joint system here, and the crotch itself is in a plastic housing that prevents it from actually moving around. That's why he don't have the floatable crotch. But he can drop his leg down further to make his kicks higher. The problem with this figure, or where I went bad at, is that on this figure is very, I'm going to be honest, it's not the greatest of plastic on the joints. They are designed to be pretty great, but all in all, they're pretty bad. You can see the slit right here that kind of allows both legs to maneuver. The problem is that when you go to move this leg forward, instead of the leg smoothly moving on the ball joint that is attached to, it will actually twist the entire joint and won't twist on the ball, and that's how my leg came off. When that happens, your toy is broke. You're not fixing it. You can try to crazy glue it, but that's gonna depend on where it breaks at. That's going to take away from the articulation, and you will be having a stiff-legged Devilman. So that being said, that is the biggest downer of this figure, because that part is so fragile. If you move it the wrong way not knowing, that's pretty much what happened to me. I had no problem with it at all. I had nice little poses with it when I did toy photography, and I didn't know I was twisting that joint. I twisted it, broke it. So that's what you really need to look out for. On that ball joint, which goes into this is on another ball joint, which is in the thigh, which causes you to swivel it. It's very snug, so just twisting this leg may actually still have you twist the attachment between the crotch, so you still can damage it that way, or even, like I said, kicking forward and back, you can damage it. The range of motion that these legs get on this toy are really wide stances. I mean, it's really nice. You can actually do some really nice stuff. You just have to be careful. Now, moving down to the knee, it's on a single hinge, which you can see back here, which is actually nicely hidden with the top layer. You turn it, I mean, you can bend it about that far in, so you get about that far of a bend, okay? And what's cool is that it is on a, I'm trying to think, I think it's a peg system, but you can swivel it. It might be on the, yeah, it's on the, no, it might be on the ball joint. Can't really tell, because I can't remember if I took that part apart. But you can turn it, so you can actually get wide stances if you need to. All right, going down to the ankle is on a single hinge, which goes about that far forward, about that far down, and then it actually can spin above the ankle or below the ankle. So you can either or, but you can turn it like that. And like I said, you can get them wide stances. So all in all, this character is actually very well put together. It's just that particular joint you have to be careful about. So overall, that is my retro review of Devilman / Amon. I hope you enjoyed the review, well, the redo of this review. Hope I was able to give you some knowledge about it. I do remember quite a bit of people asking, man, who is that? Where is he from? On Facebook. Because they never heard of Devilman. Supposedly I'm like the only big anime nerd on that side of town or whatever. But that being said, hope this review actually helped out. So if you actually have any ideas on picking him up, you can do so. So thank you for coming and checking out my review. Once again, continue to collecting shits, and I hope to see y'all back. Y'all have a great one. Take care.